I know you
Oh,
shouldn't
really?
talk about Bill Cosby, but I saw him live. And like,
I saw him live too when I was a security guard.
oh
I
yeah?
saw him live. Yeah, I was a security guard at Great Woods. I saw Kinnison there when I was a security guard. Saw Rodney Dangerfield there. Yeah, I saw quite a few people there.
Yeah, well, it was something to see him sit on his stool with his cigar and get the whole audience like literally hysterical. I mean, the guy in front of me was
Yeah.
rocking back and forth so hard he could hardly breathe. His wife kept elbowing him to get him to kind of, turn back into something vaguely resembling a human being. But it's really amazing to see someone with that much command of the audience and so consistently, unbelievably funny.
He's the
So,
most tragic story in all of show business.
man,
If
it's a
I had to,
catastrophe.
next to Michael Jackson and O.J. Simpson. I mean, those are the three most tragic stories in show business in my mind.
Yeah.
And he's a monster. I mean, it's crazy
Yeah, I
that
know.
this
And you'd think,
brilliant comedian is a
what the
monster.
hell? The thing that's so strange about Cosby, you'd think, well, like, was this really necessary? Like, man, the guy was famous in 15 different directions and really well respected. You wouldn't have think he would have had to
No.
date rape his women. It's just,
Well, yeah, I mean, he could have just had prostitutes. I mean, if he really just needed sex, I don't think that's what it was. I
no.
think there was a sick perversion, and I think he liked to do that to people. He liked to trick them. I mean, I'm just guessing, right?
Well, it has
Obviously,
to be
but
something like that because
something
it's so counterproductive and so,
psychotic. It's psychotic. I mean, I don't understand it.
no, I don't.
I've tried to sort of imagine what it must have been like to be around in the 50s and the 60s. I think people did that to each other way more often than we'd like to admit. And I think that it was more casual than we would think of today, where people would slip someone a Mickey or, I mean, he even had a bit that he did way back in the day about giving someone Spanish fly, that you'd give someone something that would make them horny. I
Right.
think he was probably a guy that had an incredibly inflated opinion of himself, didn't want anybody to ever reject him, experienced that a few times. Again, this is pure speculation, and just decided that he was better than people, that he could just drug them.
It's so
Insane.
strange though, because his comedy was basically so like it was generally family oriented. It was,
Yes.
and he put himself forward as a role model, and he was credible. Like he was credible as an actor, as a role model, and he seemed credible as a spokesperson. Is kind of makes me think. There's this idea that the psychoanalysts had. There's a guy named Eric Neumann who was a student of Carl Jung's, and one of the things that Neumann said. Wrote a book called Depth Psychology and the New Ethic right after World War II. And it's a great book, a little thin book, but it's a great book. And one of the things he says in that book is, don't be better than you are. And what he meant was, he didn't mean don't improve, like, because that would be foolish. He meant beware of adopting a persona that makes you a far better person than you actually are, because all of that part of you that you're not admitting to, that's going to go off and have its own life because you're not integrating it. You're suppressing it in some way, and you're not and so it's a living thing, that, well, like the aggression you had when you were a fighter, that's a big deep part of you. You can't just push something like that aside and pretend that it's not there and think that it's not going to go off and have some fun when you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
To me, like something like that must have got him, is that he was split between this really good guy that he was trying to be, which was like too good, and this like more monstrous side of his personality that he obviously never integrated or perhaps never even admitted to. It's really a hell of a story, man. It's like, and it really is a catastrophe. I think it was an absolute bloody catastrophe for his victims, obviously, but just as a general cultural phenomenon, it's so awful.
Did you notice that big tech companies today are masquerading as privacy companies? Just fix your privacy settings, turn off app tracking, and you're all good. Right. Are we supposed to believe that the big bad tech wolf has now turned into our sweet grandma? Sure, maybe they'll release a feature now and then that does some good, but collecting and selling off your data is in big tech's nature. To protect myself against big tech's prying eyes, I use ExpressVPN. When you use the ExpressVPN app on your computer or phone, you're hiding your unique IP address. which means websites can't use that address to find out your real location or track what you do online. On top of that, ExpressVPN encrypts and reroutes 100% of your online activity, so your internet provider, Wi-Fi admin, and hackers can't see it. The best part, though, is how easy it is to use. It just takes one click to protect all of your devices. One ExpressVPN subscription covers up to 5 devices at the same time, so you can protect your entire family too. That's why ExpressVPN is rated #1 by CNET, Wired, TechRadar, and countless others. Protect your data with the #1 rated VPN provider today. Visit expressvpn.com/JordanYT. That's expressvpn.com/JordanYT and get 3 extra months free. expressvpn.com/JordanYT.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And they say you should separate the man from the art. But in his case, it's almost impossible to do because his art was his perception of life. So like when you're watching him, it's not like a painter or even someone who makes a movie. It's like when you're watching him now, and all you can think of as he's talking about these different things and about, I told my children, well, he's doing this lovable dad voice. And so all you can think of is that guy rapes people.
Yeah.
He drugs them and rapes them.
Right. Yeah.
I can't enjoy it anymore.
Yeah.
And he's unquestionably, as far as like his skill, he was one of the greatest of all time.